When two of the world's biggest democracies talk about their relationship, you hear a lot about shared values and strategic alignment. But what really happens when the handshakes stop and the negotiations begin? Today, we're going to peel back the layers on the very complex and often contradictory story of the US-India partnership. And that brings us to the big question of this entire explainer, doesn't it? Are these two giant nations building a real partnership of trust, one that's designed to last for decades? Or is it something a little more practical? Just a series of calculated transactional deals where national interest is the only thing that truly matters at the end of the day. Okay, so to really get what's going on here, we have to start with the official story. Back in early 2025, a second Trump administration and the Indian government unveiled this grand vision for their relationship, and they gave it a very, very powerful name. It's called the Trust Initiative. And you gotta love the carefully crafted acronym, transforming the relationship utilizing strategic technology. The stated goal here was super ambitious, to basically supercharge collaboration in the most critical, high-tech sectors that are gonna define the rest of this century. And trust wasn't just some vague, fluffy idea. No, it was built on 4 very specific pillars: AI, pharmaceuticals, space, and of course, semiconductors. These are literally the industries of the future, and the plan was for the US and India to build that future together. And this one quote, it just perfectly captures the whole vibe of the initiative. According to a Carnegie Endowment report, the feeling from US officials was simple. It was direct. We want things done. See, this wasn't going to be about endless talks. It was about a business-like, results-driven push to make things happen, and happen fast. But while the ink was still drying on all that optimistic rhetoric, a much, much tougher reality was playing out behind the scenes. A reality that was about to put that whole idea of trust to a very serious test. So it just makes you ask the obvious question, right? If everything was about partnership and collaboration, why did 2025 suddenly become the year of a bitter, escalating trade war between these two supposedly close partners? It all started with the US saying it needed to level the playing field. But what was the real catch? And man, things went south really, really quickly. In April 2025, the US announced its first round of tariffs. By August 1st, a 25% tariff was already in effect, and then just a few weeks later, bam, another punitive 25% was slapped right on top. It took nearly a full year of economic pain before a deal was finally reached. And this is the crucial point. This one staggering number, 50%. Just think about that. That was the peak tariff rate on most Indian goods. This wasn't some minor disagreement. It was a massive economic blow that put billions and billions of dollars of trade at risk. And when that deal was finally struck in February 2026, the transactional nature of the relationship just became crystal clear. So India got the tariff slashed, which was a huge relief for them, but look at the price they paid. It was steep. Halt all Russian oil purchases, open up its markets to US goods, and commit to buying over $500 billion worth of American products. The Financial Express summed it up perfectly. They called the deal a calibrated holding operation. This wasn't some grand bargain built on trust. No, it was a pragmatic, hard-nosed negotiation to manage friction and just buy some time. A transaction, pure and simple. Now, it's really important to understand that India isn't just a passive player in this global game. Not at all. While it was dealing with all this US pressure, it was also actively building its own path, a path toward greater strategic and, you guessed it, financial autonomy. And a key part of that path is something called BRICS Pay. What is it? Well, it's basically a decentralized payment platform that connects major emerging economies. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and others. The goal is pretty simple: create an alternative financial highway so they're not totally reliant on Western-controlled systems. The philosophy behind it is all about freedom. It's framed around these 4 pillars: the freedom of movement, the freedom of choice, freedom from monopolies, and the freedom for each nation to develop its own economy. It's a really clear signal of a desire for a more multipolar world. But let's be super clear here. The official goal isn't to tear down the existing financial system. It's about building a parallel track. It's about having options, making sure that if one road is blocked, there's always another one you can take. It's all about resilience. And just when you think you've got the story figured out, right? America talks trust but acts transactional. India seeks autonomy. There's a twist. Of course there's a twist. Because it turns out the United States was playing its own transactional game somewhere else, and in a way that really complicates the whole story. So let me just ask you this. While the US was insisting on trusted vendors and protected technology with its supposed partner India, was it maybe cutting some purely pragmatic transactional deals with its biggest strategic competitor? The answer is a resounding yes. In December 2025, right in the middle of all this geopolitical maneuvering, the Trump administration approved the sale of some of Nvidia's most powerful AI chips to China. And when you lay it out side by side like this, the contradiction is it's stark. For India, the language was all about protecting technology and building trusted supply chains. For China, it was about selling them advanced AI chips and collecting a nice fee. And the reason? Well, it was a pragmatic deal to undercut China's own chip makers. It was pure, unadulterated transaction. So what does this all mean? I mean, when you zoom out from this one specific, complicated relationship, what does it tell us about the state of the world today? Is this the new normal? Well, the crucial point is that this whole US-India saga isn't some strange exception. It's actually a perfect snapshot of a new era in global politics, an era defined by fluid, flexible alliances, where every single nation is relentlessly pursuing its own national interest first and foremost. So here are the key takeaways from all this. It seems we're living in an age of transactional geopolitics. Those rigid Cold War-style alliances, they're out. Flexible issue-by-issue coalitions are in. National interest is consistently beating shared ideology, and what leaders say in public about partnership often hides the tough transactional deals being made in private. And because of all that, smart countries are building their own systems, like BRICS Pay, to make sure they're never left without options. Which leaves us with one final provocative question to think about. In this new world we're all trying to navigate, what's actually the stronger glue to hold an alliance together? Is it a foundation of shared democratic values? Or is it the cold, hard reality of shared, tangible interests?